Hello guys, welcome back. This is episode numero 4 of the Easy Reef Tank series. Today we're going to be talking about maintenance and testing. So we haven't actually done any maintenance on the tank since we put it up 4 weeks ago. It's starting to grow a little bit of algae on the glass, which is completely normal. That's just an indication that the tank is completely cycled and is properly processing all of the waste from the fish and the food that we're putting into the tank. It's nothing excessive, completely normal. If you are following the guidelines from all of my videos, only having one fish, feeding a minimum amount 2 to 3 times a week, then you should still have minimum amount of algae in your tank. Since I keep talking about the food and I'm feeding a very small amount, I just want to show you the food that I use. It's the Hickory Marine S. This one is a very good one for clownfish and pretty much any type of fish eats this. Your tank being so small doesn't have any way to get rid of the nutrient that you put in there. So whatever food you put in there, it's just gonna stay there. It does get processed in some way, but eventually everything's gonna accumulate, and if you don't take care of this, or if you don't avoid this accumulation of nutrients in your tank, you're just gonna end up with some algae problems. Before we actually do a water change, I wanna talk about testing, because I know that a lot of beginners, including myself, the first thing that I bought based on the advice that I got from a forum or just at the fish store was to get the API master kit. In my opinion, you shouldn't buy one of these, especially if you're trying to save money. You know, like when I was younger and I was trying to set up a simple tank like this one, I had to save up for a couple weeks just to buy like a simple pump or something like that. If I had to buy this, which I did, it would set me up a couple weeks, before I had enough money to buy something else that I needed, something that was more important. But if you want to buy something to read your ammonia, then just buy one of the Seachem ammonia readers, ammonia alerts that goes in the tank. That meter is also good for 1 year. So if you ever decide to add another fish or whatever it is that you're gonna do, that meter is still gonna be good. So corals need 3 things to live and grow. The first one is light, the second one is food, and the third one is the elements found in the water that corals use to grow their skeleton and their tissue. The corals that I talked about in the last video, they don't consume as much of these elements as other coral would, so we could easily replace the elements by doing weekly water changes. The other reason why we're doing the water changes is because nitrate and phosphates are basically the end product of the ammonia process that happens constantly within your tank. And basically nitrates and phosphates are the 2 common elements that are known to promote algae growth. These 2 elements, they're gonna keep rising if you don't do a water change or another type of nutrient export. But right here, it's super simple, so doing water changes is all we're gonna be doing. So the only 2 tests that I think you should get as a beginner is this one right here, the sulfur nitrate test kit. Only takes me about 3 minutes to do. It's super easy, it's kind of easy to read. The other kit that I think you should get is the phosphates. These elements are the ones that are mostly gonna be dictating how often you're gonna perform water changes. This is the it is the HANA checker. This one takes like about 5 minutes to perform the whole test. I kind of use it for this type of tank because it's like a really low range, so you want an actual number. Personally, this 10 gallon, I'm not even gonna be testing for that. I'm only gonna be testing for nitrates, and then based on the nitrates that are being produced, that's how often we're gonna be doing water changes. Okay, so I have the test right here, and it's basically reading at 5 parts per million. It's a lot lower than what I thought it was gonna be, but I think that number is gonna continue to creep up a little bit. Hey guys, I just want to let you know that you don't have to buy these test kits if you don't have the money right away. The best way to judge your tank and how your tank is doing in terms of nutrients or whatever is by looking at your tank. And if you see that you start growing a little bit of algae or you find yourself cleaning the glass a lot more frequently, then you know that you need to do bigger water changes or reduce your feeding, or maybe reduce your bio load. Maybe you have too many fish in there. So yeah, if you don't have the money yet, or if you want to hold off a little bit on these test kits, then you definitely can. Alright, so to do the maintenance on the tank, we're gonna be pulling out exactly 1 gallon. Before we do that though, we're gonna go in there and grab a credit card and scrape off all the algae from the glass. Another thing that you could do is grab a brand new toothbrush and then save that one only for your reef tank. And now we scraped off all the algae from the glass. As you can see, it's flying around everywhere. And now we can go ahead and siphon out the water so we could put in the new one. If you have some algae growing in your rocks, you could definitely scrub it with that little toothbrush that I told you about. But in this case, I mean, there's like barely anything, and if you choose to do that, you probably have to do it say like every 2 to 3 weeks. If you want to reduce the maintenance I mean, this is pretty simple already, but if you want to do even less maintenance on a tank like this, you could buy a protein skimmer like the one I have on it, because it will mechanically take out the organics that are accumulated in the water. So if you want to buy one of those, I recommend the one I have. This one is the Ice Cap K1 Nano. So if you want to go for one of those, then go ahead. It costs $100, so I wouldn't get one if I were you and I was following all my guidelines of only one fish. But in this case, I have it in there because I have the Antias and he eats a lot, so that's the only reason why that's in there. So there you guys have it. It's super easy. Like I said, this is the easy reef tank, and it really is that simple. If you keep it simple, your maintenance is gonna be easy to do. You're not gonna be skipping it because it takes, I know, it doesn't really take a long time to do it. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, leave them in the comments, and I'll see you later.